we're going to get started. Looks like we have a full house here. You might have noticed there's this little game called Candy Crush that does pretty well on the App Store and on Facebook. And hopefully we're going to learn something about that today. David Nixon is going to guide us through this with some real live consumers that play. David's been around the game systems for a long time, been an MC and organized a lot of the Casual Connect shows, tracks and so forth. And without further ado, here's David and the Candy Crush consumers.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me? This doesn't sound like it's quite working, so I'm going to move it up here a little bit. How's that? Is that better? Can you hear me in the back? The AV guy says yay, so that's okay. So as Craig said, my name is David Nixon. I'm going to be moderating this panel of consumers for Candy Crush. I think that it's always valuable for us to stay in touch with our players. I don't think we get enough opportunity to talk about our games with the people who actually play them who aren't game developers. I was recruited to MC or to moderate this particular panel about 3 weeks ago, and I have prepared a long list of questions that I hope that our panel will be able to answer for us. But I know that you guys have questions as well. So as I go through the presentation, I will be breaking every once in a while to take questions. So if you have something that you want to say when I call out for questions, please don't be shy. We'll get you a microphone so that we can get it on the recording, and you can address your questions to the panel as a group, or you can address your questions to each one of them individually. So that you know who to address your questions to, I'd first like to allow each of the panelists to introduce themselves and give a little bit of a background about themselves and their Candy Crush habit and how they ended up being on stage with us today. So we'll start with Cry. Cry, why don't you give us a background on yourself?
Hello, my name is Cry Coleman, and I have actually been fortunate enough to be with King and be on a panel of one source or another for the past 6 years. I'm a public speaker by trade, which sometimes is very helpful. I have been a gamer probably off and on most of my adult life, and when my body decided to start doing things I'd rather it didn't do, and I became less able to get around, I discovered that when I focused in on games and playing them, it took away my focus on pain or what was happening in my body. And so I continued playing more and more and found that I absolutely loved it. Now with Candy Crush and the phenomena that's going on with that, I have found I love the challenge. I have played Candy Crush since prior to it even became a saga, when it first came out. And so once it moved to that venue, going that direction, I found I was hooked, friends are hooked, family's hooked, and I just want you to know I'm thrilled to be here and very excited to start answering questions.
I'm Mickey Coleman, and I'm a new gamer to all of this. I don't play on the computer. I play only on my iPhone or my iPad. So I waited for them to come out, for Candy Crush to come out on it. I've played different games for the past couple of years.
Hi everybody, my name is Jordan. I'm 24. I work as a disability analyst for the state of California, and I've been a gamer all my life. My big brother got me hooked on games since I was little. I got into Candy Crush a little over a year ago, and I haven't looked back. I'm obsessed with the game. I'm at level 150, and I'm pushing myself to pick up the slack because I really enjoy the challenge that the game has to offer, and in many ways we're going to discuss how innovative and different it is from all the other games that I've played, at least. So I'm happy to be here and excited also to answer your questions.
Go ahead and use the other mic.
Hello, Matt Ortiz. I am 38, live in South Bay, here in San Jose. Father of two, separated. My likes it now. Let's see, I have been playing Candy Crush for about 6-7 months now. I am at level 430.
Hang on, I got to stop there for just a second. Is there anybody in this room that is above level 430 that doesn't work for King.com? Wow. Well done.
I do a lot of my playing at work, as well as on my phone. Been gaming for most of my life, back from the Atari 2600 on up through all the consoles, as well as Facebook and mobile games.
Excellent. Shauna?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Shauna Matthews. I'm proud to say I'm 49. I'll be 49 August 19th coming up. I'm a facilities manager for UC Berkeley. Yay, go Bears. That means I manage the dorms where the students live to go to school. I may have some of you living in my dorms, I don't know. That's an interesting job. However, I've been fortunate enough to be able to play Candy Crush at work and Candy Crush on my phone. I don't have a tablet yet, but I'm praying for one and know it'll come. I'm ashamed to say that I play Candy Crush at church. I'm the praise and worship leader, so I kind of hide out in the back like I'm really reading the scripture, but I'm really playing Candy Crush. But I'm addicted. I'm at level 181, just got there on my way here on the train. And Candy Crush for me is, it allows me just to check out a little bit, and focus on something else other than what's going on. It's like Christ said, it helps numb the pain, it gets your mind off of something, and it's strategic enough, progressively strategic enough to help keep me hooked going out, and I love the graphics. That is just the coolest. I'm diabetic, so I can't eat candy, so Candy Crush is my sweet reward. So I look forward to talking to you all. Great.
I actually keep hoping that King.com will license the rights to make Candy Crush candies so that we can actually buy them and eat them. I often look at the screen and go, oh, I want some of those purple ones. Those look good. So I did want to mention that we found out just before the session today that Matt and Shanna actually share a birthday. Their birthday is both August 19th, which I thought was quite a coincidence.
Yeah.
Matt, why don't you tell us a little bit about how you got started with Candy Crush? This type of game is traditionally the realm of what we call casual gamers, which tend to be women over 35. But Candy Crush has certainly blasted through those demographic barriers, and I'd like you to give an example of how you found out about it and how you got hooked.
Well, found out about it. My mother-in-law at the time was playing and looking over her shoulder and be like, "Oh, that looks pretty. You should have done that move." And she's like, "Oh, you think you can do better?" Well, can you speak up? Sure. How's that? All right. So my mother-in-law was playing at the time and decided I could do better after she threw down the challenge. And she was probably about 100 levels ahead of me. Within I'd probably say a week or two, I had caught her and passed her. And that was really what drove me to play and get ahead of as far ahead of her as possible until she caught me again, because I stopped playing for a bit.
So the competition was really what sort of hooked you in.
That's really what got, and in fact, not just me, but a lot of my friends and through Facebook as well. It was really the competition. Everyone was trying to beat me, trying to catch me on that. So as long as I can stay a step ahead, I'm good.
Do you all find the competition to be compelling? I mean, I know you do, Cry, because you seem like a competitive person. Mickey, you compete?
I compete against me. I don't.
So it's really more about the game. For you.
It's about the game for me and not anybody else.
How about you, Jordan?
I have some Candy Crush friends, and we always like to have a good competition in between us. And for me, it is largely also about the competition. It's very social for me. I'm a very social person, so I love that about me.
Make sure you speak into the microphone when you answer a question. I know you're in an awkward spot right now. And then how about you, Shauna? Do you compete?
I compete against myself, and I kind of quietly compete against others. Can everybody hear me without the mic? Pretty much? Okay, good.
How about you?
So,
AV guy, you're okay?
You guys are back there? Okay, yeah, I have Anyway, I pretty much compete a little bit within my own self, because one point in time I got stuck for like 3 months, And everybody who I kind of said, check out Candy Crush, and they passed me up. So then it made me wonder about my own intelligence. Am I slow or what? Or no. And then my thing is they must be paying to go further. I just refuse. That's me. So in a bit, it's a competition against myself and against others, but I just don't really talk about the others.
So,
What I was just whispering to him is that I have noticed, actually, we have 5 teenagers living at home with us. Pray for us.
holy smokes.
But what I've noticed with them, instead of competing against one another, they're passing along their phones with, hey, will you finish this level for me? And we're not finding that so much in those our age. We want to beat them. But with the kids anyway, with them and with their group of friends, even siblings who don't like to get along are saying, hey, will you just get me past this? So, you're finding everything within there, from cooperation to competition to let me show you up to I give up. It's all in there. And I like seeing that even the younger people are picking this up. It's broken all the age barriers.
So, do you, Mickey, you said you were new to gaming.
Yeah.
So was Candy Crush the first game that you got into?
No, it was not the first.
What was the first?
Bejeweled. Sorry. It was.
No, that's okay.
And I found it because she found it, and it was something I could do, and at the time I had a very high-stress job, so I could get away from my stress at work, or get away from, when I came home, I could relax for a few minutes before going into my family duties.
Gotcha. Bejeweled is a lot easier than Candy Crush.
I'd rather play Candy, though. It gives me more of a thrill beating the next level.
Gotcha. Jordan, have you ever paid to get past a level?
I must admit that there are times where I have paid, just because nothing can get more obnoxious than when you have that one jelly, okay, that's left, and you have one more try, and you have no possible combination, and you're just like, I don't want to repeat this all over again. It took me blood, sweat, and tears to get to this point. I'm not going to do this again. And so I have done the occasional extra lives just so I could beat the level and go on, because it was just way too frustrating for me to go back and have to do the level
you
over.
tend to buy the extra lives at that point when you need them versus like the boosts?
For me, it's lives. Boosts, I don't really, I can figure them out myself in the game. Like I can get a striped candy or a candy bomb or something and use that and strategize. But lives are big for me. I need those.
Shauna, just before the presentation, we talked a little bit about the challenge in the game and how hard it was and how you reacted to the challenge. Why don't you talk a little bit about that for us here?
I choose not to pay, and I can definitely relate to that one little jelly that's left. But see, my mindset is that when Candy Crush was created, whoever you all are who created it, what have you, you created it in order for us to be able to pass it. And in each and every time, it's a progressive game. And I'm noticing at the level where I am now, if I hadn't gone through the levels before, I wouldn't have the tools or the knowledge to know what I need in order to get past this level. Because in the beginning, because I was helping my mom get past level wherever she was at 24 on the way here, and to me, I got her straight through it. But at the level where I was, I know that in order for me to get past this, I'm gonna need a couple of stripes and a little candy ball in order to make that happen, to blast it all out. But as far as paying for something, I refuse. That's just my own personal, because the game was created in order for me to win it without even having to pay. And that's just, was that answering your question?
Yeah, how long is the longest you've been stuck on a level?
3 months, man, 3 months. And the thing about it is, those 3 months I was stuck. And the time that I got through that, and I don't even remember which level, because it's in the past, let it go. But I know that I passed it on that time because I was pissed off about something. I don't remember what it was either, but I got past that level, and I was like, yes! And all of whatever I was pissed about, I was cool with from that point, because I got past that level, so that was me.
So one more question for you. How many friends do you think you've brought into, like how many other people have you established this habit in, do you think?
Oh my goodness.
50?
Yeah, maybe 50, 75, close to 100, because we're Facebook friends. and I played with it through Facebook. And so I remember when I first started, it was my girlfriend's husband who was on there, and my cousin. And I haven't seen my cousin in a long time, but that's the way we connect, and that's the way me and my girlfriend's husband connect. We're friends. And then all of a sudden, I see all of my coworkers coming up, and my nieces and my nephews and all of these, and then they pass me. I'm like, okay, this is not cool. They must be paying. But no, and about that many people, but at the same time, and I can't, some people go on YouTube and look. I tried it one time to find the cheaters and how you do it. You can't cheat with Candy Crush, in my opinion, because every time it drops down, it's a different puzzle. At least I thought. I don't know what y'all was thinking when you did what you did, but but no, it's a different puzzle. So I just go with it. It's my therapy.
So, Cry, you've been playing King.com games for a long time, and you said before the session that you actually have started playing with skill games and online games on King.com several years ago, before there was a Saga. Have you connected with people through the games and through the skill gaming on King.com that you might not have otherwise met in the real world?
I can most definitely say yes. I have connected with other people that I have played with in competitions, whether we are challenging each other one-on-one for money or just for the heck of it. I have found in being able to also chat at the same time or send a message to who I'm playing with has really facilitated making friendships I would have never made otherwise. I have met with people from around the world that, and I'm talking about face-to-face, that I never would have seen if I didn't have that option to begin with. So yeah, very much so. It has increased my circle of friends from just locally and in our state or in our country to all around the world.
Cry actually said earlier today that she has a direct line to Riccardo Zacconi now after 6 years of traveling around as his ambassador. So, if you need anything from Riccardo, it's probably a good idea to start with her because, he listens.
He likes me.
I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about Candy Crush specifically and some of the specific elements of the game that you might like or dislike. I'm just curious. Tell me your favorite candy in Candy Crush. What's yours? Cry?
I like the color ball, and it has more to do with not what the function is. I enjoy the array of colors that are all around it, that it includes everything.
How about you, Mickey?
I agree. I like the color ball. I like what he does too.
Oh yeah, especially when you put them together with the stripy one. Yeah.
Yes. That's what I was gonna say. Actually, I love combining the color ball with the striped candy, and that I just live for moments like that because it's like, oh my God, I just got lucky. Like this is gonna change the whole outcome of my level. I can't wait. You know what I mean? So for me, it's just the opportunity to get so many different combinations, and really sometimes you make a level and you're so surprised at how unlikely the scenarios are, and then all of a sudden it just brings a good, favorable outcome. So sometimes you're not even thinking about it almost, and your mind has already adapted to, the whole structure of the game. So you're able to figure out strategies that it almost becomes mindless because the game kind of scaffolds your skills a little bit. And so you're able to adapt to different scenarios. And I love that. I've never had that experience with a game before. So.
How about you, Matt? What's your favorite candy?
I don't know if I have one.
Really?
It really depends on the level I'm on and what I need to accomplish to clear that level. Because anyone that's played it knows I'm more in it to finish the level. And yeah, it's nice to get a wrapper and blow stuff up, but again, I think it's whatever I need, whatever's necessary for that level to clear it. That's kind of where I'd be at.
I think King.com may need to do a Matt update just to add content for him because he's burning through it at such an enormous rate. Shauna, how about you? What's your favorite candy?
Okay, so I see your question in a couple of ways. So I'm going to talk about Candy the food first. So Candy the food, because I can't have it. I can't eat it. And but I see the red one is the hot tamale. Or the jelly belly jelly bean, but I see it more as a hot tamale. Love those. I see the little candy wrapper ones. there's something kind of gummy. I know that you chew it and it's gummy and it's awesome. And then you have the little round ball. It looks like one of those sour tart, sweet tart things, and you suck on it, it kind of dissolves in your mouth. I see that one. And then the one, the chocolate one with all the sprinkles on it, I just have my vision that there's some good, dark, sweet Belgian chocolate in the middle of it with the candies on the outside of it, and that would just be awesome. And then the striped ones, you know, you can get a little bit of lime and a bit of vanilla to go with it or something different. So that's my obsession with that. I really thought about this. I have really thought about it. Wow, go figure.
I think I may go into diabetic shock just from that description.
I told you, it's my sweet reward. But, you know, as far as what they're able to do and when they blow up and do that, that's awesome. And like, yes, my favorite is when the two little candy balls get together and you switch them up and they do all of that. And that just blew my mind when I saw it for the first time. I was like, oh, cool, score. And I get them not even knowing it sometimes. So, yeah, that's me.
So I want to take a break for just a minute from me talking and asking questions and throw it open to the audience to see what sort of questions the people in the audience have for this valuable panel. Hang on, he'll bring you a microphone.
You had said that you don't spend money in the game. Have you ever bought a game, whether it's you know, for a console or for the iPhone, or any time ever spent money on a game?
No, because my job provides my phone, and so they made it very, very clear if I want to keep this perk, don't buy anything. So I'm kind of limited to what I can do.
Hi, my question's for, is it Nick?
Matt.
Oh, Matt, I'm sorry. Can you talk a little bit about maybe the progression of difficulty in the levels up to your current level, and if there's spikes in that difficulty, and secondly, what you feel about the time levels over the not timed, or if anybody on the panel wants to discuss the time levels and what they feel about them or how they like them?
You know, I'll go back and try and get 3 stars on some lower levels that I haven't acquired the 3 stars yet, and those seem to be harder for some reason. And I think once I got to the point where, okay, got the point total I needed to move on, I left it alone. I'm not touching it, and just kept moving forward. So some of the levels seem progressively to get a little more difficult. Then you throw in the tornadoes that are in there now, where it seems it's not skill anymore. They throw into more luck into the game. Now it's just kind of like, okay, it is what it is. You just play it. I'm sorry, second, third parts. I prefer the timed aspect of the games. Wish there were a few more levels that had the time on there. I think I was on a road trip up to Portland, and my buddy was driving, and I think it was, forget which level, but kept adding time. I think it's capped now.
I'm going to move this closer to you because you don't project quite as well as she does.
Yeah, thanks. And I'd have to say probably went for an hour and a half to 2 hours on that, on the ride up. It just kept getting the 5-second candies. So I think they finally capped that, because I put the game on hold, came back like an hour later, played it for another hour. I like that aspect of it. It kind of got monotonous after a while.
How about you, Mickey? What do you think about the timed levels? And speak into the microphone.
I'm about a 50-50 on that. Some of them I want that, and sometimes I just want to play. I don't want to be timed or something. So it just depends on what my mood is and what my stress level is that day.
So if you're feeling kind of stressy and you come up on a timed level, do you like turn it off and go away, or do you just?
I turn it off and go away and go play the other game that I have.
Gotcha.
If I could.
What was the question? What game is that? What's the other game?
I still play Bejeweled.
You and the rest of the people in the world. Yeah, just use the microphone.
About the difficulty of the levels, I think, first of all, in regards to the time levels, I enjoy that because it is an extra little bit of a challenge there, and it prevents the game from getting really monotonous. What I really like about the difficulty aspect of Candy Crush is that I mentioned scaffolding before. I'm a huge believer that you learn by progression. And I think that the way the levels are structured in Candy Crush is, it builds skills and strategy. For each level that you pass, the more successful you are at the lower levels, it kind of preps you for the bigger things that are to come. So for me, that's what I enjoy, and I haven't quite seen that with other games I've played. They're either too easy or too hard, and it can be a little intimidating for the casual player. So I think that that's what makes Candy Crush so different, is that the difficulty, it's not so much as to intimidate someone and not get them to play ever again, traumatize them. And it's very relatable, and you could, besides going to YouTube and looking at different strategies, you could actually collaborate with other people that, for instance, you're at the max, we need to talk, and maybe take some notes, you can give me some strategy. But that's back to the social aspect of it. It allows you to reach out to other people that may have done better than you, and maybe they're doing something you're not,
Got a couple more questions.
Just quick two-part question. I know from two of you how you discovered the game, but I wanted to know from the others how you found the game in the first place. And then for those who aren't on very, very high levels, does looking at the map ever intimidate you in terms of how far there still is to go in the game?
So let's take the first question first. And I think we heard from Matt, and was it Mickey that we had? Cry? Okay,
Cry.
So Mickey, why don't you talk about how you first discovered this particular game?
The 5 kids and my partner in my house, you go home and find your children doing this and your partner, they're all on this game, and you're thinking maybe there's something to this. And so I started playing it just to be social with my family, and then I found out how wonderful it was for me to be able to get from levels up, to go levels up. And I'm not as high as anybody in this room probably, but I have fun doing it. That's what keeps me doing it.
Well, how I got hooked on Candy Crush actually was at work. I have a coworker that I sit next to that most of the time I don't really see him doing much. And there was one, and for my job, not doing anything is pretty bad because you'll get behind on your work. But so one day I noticed that he was playing something on his phone, and I said, what the heck is that you're playing? And he's like, oh, it's Candy Crush. He's like, I'm so obsessed about it, and I can't stop playing it. And I was just really curious about it, and so I downloaded the game. First couple levels, actually the first dozen levels were really easy, and I was just starting to be like, oh God, this is it. This is how it's going to be for the rest of the time I'm going to play this. But then it got increasingly harder and more challenging, and that's how I got hooked into it, because I wanted to see what the max about my skills could be challenged. And I still have not have not been able to not be challenged by the game. There's always a new set of challenges to experience, and that makes it fun for me. So
do you play at work?
Yeah, I do. It's not very easy, but I try to do it whenever I can. But yeah, I still do.
Okay, Shauna, I haven't heard your story on this. How did you find the game?
At work. Because I used to play another game, Angry Birds. Ooh, but that was my game. But the thing about that was it wasn't connected through Facebook, and every time I got a new phone or upgraded, because I'd already reached all the levels of that, and I had to start all back over, and I lost them. But with this one, I was on Facebook, and you know how they have all the options on the other side. I was like, what's this? And I really didn't want to get caught up, but I did. And then from there, I started with Candy Crush, and then just one thing led to another. And I noticed, like I said, I saw my cousin on there, and we haven't talked in forever. It's oh, cool, and somebody else. So that's how it got started for me. And I started playing it at work more so. And then I discovered there was an app. Oh, happy day, happy day. And then from the app, it was from there, and then it could be connected from one to the other, so I didn't lose my place and all of that. And then your next question was about the different levels that go up. Is that intimidating? It's just,
I get the impression you're not intimidated by very much.
Well, it's like, oh, damn, I got a long way to go. But that's okay. I'm going to keep it moving, because it was created in order for us to move forward in it. So there's always a way. There's always a solution. It's going to happen, and I'm going to do it one way or another. So it's the challenge.
So, question for the panel: what is the dominant, like the platform that you play the game on most? Is it iPhone, iPad, Android phone or PC?
Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 is my computer. At work. Any times after hours, it's my phone, my Droid. So yeah.
But you,
Same at work, PC. Outside, it's the Android.
okay.
I prefer my phone. I tried it on the computer, but for me it's more enjoyable when I can take it with me everywhere I go. So
I only play on mobile devices.
For me, I probably play 90% of the time on my laptop.
Do you like the laptop better for some reason, or?
Well, I have the game downloaded on everything. Trying to think, do I like it better? I think it's just that I'm on my computer more than I am on anything else. I have always resisted even having a telephone with me, but it is on my telephone. So it's just, I enjoy the game, but I probably play it more on the computer than anything else.
So I'd like to talk about, since this is a social game, I'd like to talk about some of the social aspects of the game. And we've already talked about the fact that you invite your friends to play and you show each other the game, and there's a lot of word of mouth. Do you post stuff from the game? Do you send invites through, say, Facebook to your friends to play? Nikki?
I'd have to say no. I don't invite much of anybody. My children invite me to do everything, but I don't. My job was so social that my gaming I kept to myself.
Gotcha. What about you, Jordan?
For me, it's definitely using Facebook. I have like 300 friends in there, and I send invites every chance that I get just because I love those extra lives that my friends send over, and they really help you in a bind. But I also talk about it a lot outside of Facebook, and as I mentioned before, with some of my friends, we collaborate. I mean, we trade strategies when we're having difficulty in a level or something. We talk about it, and actually ends up being very fun.
So with 300 friends and fairly active Candy Crush life, I bet you get a lot of requests for lives and tickets. How do you respond to those?
I do. I try to respond to all of them, actually, because I know how it's like when you need that ticket and nobody will give it to you. You know what I mean? I get some people that get mad at me because they're not into the game, and they're like, don't send me any requests, because they maybe played it once and they gotten turned off, or for whatever reason. So.
And you don't talk to those people anymore?
Obviously
lame, right?
not. They're not on my friends list anymore if they're not going to do that. No, I'm just kidding.
Got a friends list solely to advance in Candy Crush.
Yeah.
How about you, Matt? Do you invite your friends?
I do. In fact, I have maybe 500-600 friends on Facebook. I would say a good quarter of which through gaming alone. I will lose friends because I will send invites out, which is fine because I rarely talk to them anyway.
Go ahead and pull that mic closer. Or project.
I can project. Okay. When Jordan starts speaking about collaborations, I also work part-time at the San Jose Arena at the Shark Tank, and a lot of my coworkers there do play. I'm on a break or I'm on a lunch, and all I get is someone's cell phone in my face. Can you get me past this level? And you have to oblige for a bit, but then I get stuck. It's one of the levels I probably was horrible at, and I'm stuck there for my whole lunch, running late. I have to get back and tell the supervisor why I was late.
I had to help this guy get past level 237 in Candy Crush. It was an emergency.
But yeah, I do. Family, friends, probably just through Candy Crush. It's upwards of 60 or 70 friends through there. So.
Shauna, tell me about the interaction that you have with your friends on Facebook around lives and tickets. How does that work for you?
What I do is just, because the little thing pops up more so, on my PC it's a little bit confusing for me, because if I accept a life or I say, okay, more so the life, I don't know where that life goes, because I'm already at the full 5. Maybe we could talk about that on sidebar, because I'm confused. But in regards to on my phone, on my Droid, when I open it up, it pops up. It's like, these people are stuck for X amount of days, so I just accept all and send it, because I just want to get to my game. And I don't want to leave them out in the cold because they always send me love anyway, so I make sure I send them love back. At one point in time, I had so many extra stuff. I guess it crashed because I had like over 250 extras, whether if it's extra moves or extra lives or what have you, and then all of a sudden it just disappeared and Crush brought me back to 0. I'm like, damn.
Oh no.
But I don't do it Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, because I don't want folks knowing my business. So I don't send anything Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, because I don't want, because everybody, like my vice chancellor, my chancellor, we're all Facebook friends, and I just don't want them to be in my business like that. But anytime after hours, y'all want some love, want some life, you got that. So that's me.
So anybody needs extra stuff, make sure you friend her, because she's going to send you, and Jordan, because they're going to send you everything.
Yes.
So let's take another break and go out to the audience for some other questions. Got new questions here?
Let's see. This has to do with tickets. Have any of you, when you're asking for tickets through your friends, experienced like connectivity problems during that point? But oddly enough, when you decide to cave in and buy, there is no connectivity problem.
You're asking about sneaky stuff from King.com?
Nope.
You have any trouble getting tickets from your friends when you request them?
I don't have any trouble getting tickets from my friends. Like I said, I've never bought any tickets, but what has happened is, I could ask for tickets, but I can't get, like if I need 3 tickets and I've sent it out to everybody and just that one person sends me 2 tickets, it's not going to take that. It's only going to give me that 1 ticket from that one person. So I can't repeat tickets from the same person to get my 3. So I really have to wait for somebody to scroll through their stuff from a fresh person to send me a ticket. That's kind of weird to me, but oh well. But no connectivity problems.
King.com masters of segmentation. I think they probably identified you as somebody who should give them money. So, got it.
So, Matt, level 430 is what you said.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah. So, along the way, do you remember, have you spent any money, and what did you spend it on?
I have spent money. I'll be the first to admit that. For various things, hammer, to that's pretty much that, and lives.
Hammers and lives. Mm-hmm. Stuff that helps you practically get past the level that you're stuck on. We have one more back here. I'll get to you in a minute, okay?
I have played Candy Crush, but I have never logged in or in Facebook or bought any stuff. My question is about the controls. If you have any issues with the controls, I don't mean the occasional wrong, unintentional move, but the controls are blocked while Candy is dissolving, and it's not much a problem for me because I'm playing slowly. But in the time levels, this was quite frustrating for me. Have you had any of these stuff?
I think that let's direct that question to both Mickey and Cry, because Mickey is new at this and Cry is very experienced. Have you experienced frustration with getting candies to switch while the cascades are happening?
Okay. I know that for myself, I do become frustrated sometimes that I can't make the next move that I see because things are still happening on the screen. That has at times been very frustrating for me. Overall, I don't really seem to mind that wait until everything has finished, but it's just I think that there are other games out there that you can continue moving, continue making those moves no matter how much things are moving on the screen, and with Candy Crush you can't. And so that's where I find myself trying to do it anyway because I've been able to in the past in other games.
I'm patient and I just let it fall and then do it.
Well, and it's interesting because you play Bejeweled as well, which is
Yes.
a game that does allow you to make matches while the cascades
Yeah.
are happening. In fact, I think they were the first one to
Yeah,
ever
they-
actually master that. So you just wait for them to fall.
I wait. I'm patient. I have 5 teenagers in my house. I'm patient.
I'm always distracted by the sweet I just have to listen to that guy say those things, and then I'm distracted until the cascade ends.
Can I comment on that? You know, I can't attribute this to myself, but I remember one day my sister was playing Candy Crush, and she said, she posted on, she said, I think the Candy Crush man is flirting with me. Sweet, delicious. So I'm like, oh, okay, nice voice.
Go ahead.
Is there anything you ever wanted or wished from the game? Like, oh, I wish the game had this or this feature or something.
So I'm gonna stop you on that one because that's my wrap-up question, and I'm glad that you've asked it because I want to give everybody an opportunity to think about it a little bit, and then we'll come back to that as the last question for the panel. Okay? So you guys think about the one thing that you would add to Candy Crush that would make the game a better experience for you, and we'll come back and we'll wrap up the panel at the end with that question. Okay?
I only asked that because I was around GDC. I was like, okay, it's everywhere. It's making money. I should probably start playing it to see how it is. And I started playing it every day, and then I stopped for about a month. But I'm thinking, was there any time that you stopped for any sort of reason and just like picked it up and just couldn't stop playing it? Or do you have any stop times?
Do you take Candy Crush breaks?
Oh,
Yeah? They sometimes last as long as, like, what, 15 minutes?
No,
24 hours, maybe.
I was gonna say I've stopped for up to a week, but
She can quit anytime she wants.
I'm not as hooked as a lot of people are.
Okay, so I guess what was that's your longest was a week and I guess a day. And how about the rest of you?
24 hours for me, same day.
For me, I took about a 3-week break. It was at that 3-month level where I just got stuck and I couldn't get past it. So I just left it alone for a minute and kind of detoxed off of Candy Crush, but did other things. I discovered other things in between time, other games, off of Air and Witch Saga and yes, and Pet Rescue, which frustrates me. But I'm back to Candy Crush and yeah.
That's kind of how I'm like level 89 right now, and I'm at 250 notifications. My thing keeps crashing. For 3 weeks off, you took your week off. What brought you back? Is what my next question is.
I'm not gonna let the game beat me. I refuse. It's the challenge. You know I can get past this level. I just need a moment.
She has 5 other people in her house that are playing it all the time.
It just sucked me back in. Between the children and her, it just, okay, I'm coming back, I'm playing, let me get up to where you guys are.
So the gentleman behind you has some questions as well. We're going to move on to him, okay? All right.
So you guys talked about how much you like the graphics and how you're impressed with the special effects and it makes you feel really good. I have a very hypothetical question. When you discovered Candy Crush, if the graphics maybe were not so nice, maybe they were just, regular square colored boxes for candy, and maybe the sounds were not as good, but all the challenges, all the game mechanics, the same type of level situation was there. Do you think you would still be playing this game if the graphics were not so impressive?
I know that for myself, the answer to your question is no. I would not have continued to play it if the graphics hadn't been there and been so impressive to me. Because I started playing the game when it was first put up on King.com, when it was simply Candy Crush. And most of us that were in my circle and talking about it, we felt it was just a replacement for Bejeweled, which was no longer on King.com at that time. And so in playing it, yes, we liked the candy, we liked the colors, but when I discovered the Saga part, when they put it out, the graphics became brighter, became more brilliant, and it just draws you in. And then adding that whole, making it to each level, beating each level, that's what's kept me there. And I know for myself, without it, there's no way I would have continued. It wouldn't be that phenomena with me.
Because it was the graphics, it was the production values that sucked you in,
Exactly.
but it was the gameplay that kept you there.
Exactly.
Gotcha. So there's, so I think we have a gentleman up front. Do you still have a question?
Yeah.
Hold on, don't, let me get you the microphone so it gets on the recording. And I just want to say we've got about 5 or 6 minutes left, so we're going to take the 2 gentlemen in the back, and then we'll come back to the panel for that question about what they would add to the game if they could. Okay, so let's do that.
They've answered some of my questions. I was just curious, like, at what point when you started playing really hooked you on the game? Like, what was the point you just knew you were addicted?
Well, for me, the one thing that got me hooked on the game, like I said before, was that it's just so different in terms of the difficulty, the gameplay, and you're commenting on the graphics. I think that being an avid gamer myself, I have a huge appreciation for good graphics, a good narrative, and with Candy Crush, although the storyline is a little bit simplistic, it's still part of what makes the game so engaging. You have an objective. And I think that when I kind of added all of those together, it just hooked me up, because I was just like, wow, this is appealing for all my senses, right? I'm hearing the candies, pop or whatever, and then I'm looking at the candies, the detail, all of those different things together. It just hits at the reward base of your brain, right? So you just get addicted. It's like a drug, pretty much.
So is there anybody that has a story of, like, I remember that I noticed that I was totally hooked on this game at level 43, or I was totally hooked on this game the first time my daughter did XYZ? Any story like that?
Well, I don't remember the level, but I remember I realized that I was hooked on this game when it was like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. And I'm sleeping. My boyfriend is, because he plays the PlayStation thing, and it's like, that's not me. But I don't have the coordination for that. But I'm like, sleep, turn, and on my phone just, and I was like, oh my God. I look up, it's 4 o'clock in the morning, I gotta get up in a minute. That's when I knew I was hooked. That's when I knew I was hooked, and I've been hooked ever since. And yes, I still do play that time of the morning sometimes when I can't sleep.
So how about the gentleman in the back?
So I think one of the lesser known functionalities in Candy Crush is the fact that if you're not connected to Facebook, you can complete quests to get tickets. And I'm wondering, have you ever disconnected from the social aspect in order to complete the quests, or do you have a reaction to the fact that some people can move forward without paying and not participate in the social aspects of the game?
Anybody complete quests to get tickets? Have you ever? Nope. So nobody here has ever done that? Does it bother you that somebody can do that? That if you're not connected to the internet, you can complete quests to get tickets to move on?
Never knew about it. That's new to me.
Oh.
Wasn't aware of it.
Does it bother you?
No.
Were you aware that it even existed?
No, they're all saying they didn't even know that feature existed.
No.
Good job. You just
idea.
cut Candy Crush's revenue by 25%. Now the rest of us have a shot. All right, one more question there in the back.
Can't hear you. I can't hear you. Sorry.
For extra moves at the end of a level, have you ever encountered a situation where you have not subsequently solved the level after paying?
You paid for extra moves, didn't complete the level. Matt, you're like Tom.
Yes, I have. And I've spent more money to try to finish that level. In fact, I think I did that yesterday at work.
Anybody else? Never encountered that. You always got past. All right, well, so it's good to know that it's possible. And you just went ahead and paid again.
Of course.
Awesome. So looping back for the last couple of minutes of the panel, we had the question earlier, if there was one thing that you could add to or change in Candy Crush to make it a better experience for you, what would it be? Let's start with Cry.
When I began playing Candy Crush, I played in a form where there was no type of pause button. That frustrated me to no end, because even getting a phone call in the middle of a game for skill that I may have been playing for money, I couldn't pause it for 30 seconds and go back to it. So I can't say that there's anything right now that I would add to it. I'm just glad to see that all of these different functions have been added to the Saga version.
How about you, Mickey?
I think I would add more candies, but that's just me.
Like more different color candies?
Yeah, more different colors. I want more graphics.
Jordan?
For me, it would have to be, I would like more combo possibilities. I know that a lot of the way that you can connect candies are either vertically or horizontally. I'd like to be able to challenge myself and be able to connect candies across different directions, like diagonally, things like that. I think that would really boost the challenge of it all. And I would also like to see new power-ups, and that you can create new power-ups with different candies, because you're not able to do much with the candies you have unless you buy things. But I think there should be more of that.
Matt?
I want to be able to bank the lives that my friends send me, and not, if you're full. I have my half sister lives in the Philippines, and with the time difference, I'll send her a request. Comes back after I wake up. I already have my 5 full lives on there, so I'd like to be able to bank some of those lives, if not all of them, to keep continuously playing.
For me, reverse, take back, because sometimes I'm playing and I was like, oh man, I didn't mean to do that. And it's like, oh, I wish I could repeat. But I know if y'all can come up with that one, you guys, that would be awesome, because you have to undo everything that was done because of it. And, reverse.
Well, the real question is, if we gave you an undo, would you pay for it?
Oh, good question.
No, not me. The job pays. Now, if this was my own phone and all that, I didn't have all the restrictions on it in regards to that, I'd have to, it may be, depending on what my budget looked like that month.
So I would like to thank Shauna, Matt, Jordan, Cry, and especially Mickey, because she jumped into this panel at the last minute with no notice. Thank you very much, all 5 of you, for coming and sharing your